Hello, hello, hello. Look in the eye and say hello. It's Beatty Boy, the one and only, still kicking. How are you? How are you today? Wherever you may be, in the motherland, Britannia, British America, British Canada, along with our European friends. I know it takes off a lot of patriots to stress on the British. Well, that's what I am. You are what you are. So how are you today? This is the Dinosaur News, brought to you by the British People's League. Maybe halfway through this video, my voice will come back to me. It's just what happens when you don't talk to a lot of people. You spend half your life on the internet. Your voice starts to go. Well, first off, I have to thank Kandor people. Thanking Kandor greatly for a great plug that they put in. Their issue number 877. And I might add, they put in a terrific plug for yours truly, the British People's League, and for me personally. And Colin Todd, the editor, actually put in an appeal for a bit of change to see if I could improve my lack of technology thereof in these broadcasts. And lo and behold, since the publication came out, August, September, I've had two good contributions, financial contributions that'll help pay the server bill. Doesn't sound like much, $20 a month, but add that up over the year. Add it up over 10 years, 20 years. I'm not taking out of my pension, am I? Well, yes, I am when there's no change. I'm not one to ask for help. It hasn't worked over the years for this boy. I just do my thing on behalf of our people. But in any case, we had an anonymous contribution from Britain shortly after the issue 877 Kandor was mailed out. And also from Mother Britannia Anonymous. And then just recently, a nice contribution from America, from mid-America, from a British American, proud of his British roots. Now, speaking proud of British roots, the unbelievable has finally happened. Now, the last broadcast talked about a truck full of youngsters, young men, shouting, "Johnny, Johnny, Johnny," going by in the truck, as I point out in the previous video. You like to go over that. So how could you follow up with that? Well, a woman I've never met in my life was sitting with her husband in a public place, and she got up as I was leaving, and she came over. She looked me dead in the eye, and she said, "I want to thank you for what you are doing for my sons. I want to thank you for what you are doing for my sons." Dead in the eyeball. I knew what she meant. You see, when the British Canadian tribe were doing something, as I talk about in the first 3 chapters of the unfinished book, when they were active, started in 1978, well, my now passed away wife Hazel, she was the go-between. So the rogue renegades of the establishment could keep in real close contact with me. They could trust my wife to be trustworthy. She was born in England, raised in Horsham, Sussex, good old Sussex by the sea in Britain. So my point being that Hazel Janet Wilsteed, her maiden name, Hazel Janet Beatty, married name. So she reported what was going on in activity. And again, you can get the 3 chapters, opening chapters, by getting through to me at Facebook through a friend. Somehow connect, and we'll send you the 3 chapters. No charge, just to stir up your interest. So following through with the lady just recently, the last couple of weeks, thanking me for what I'm doing for her sons. Never met her in my life. Well, of course, what she meant is white males are at the bottom of the list. Now, somebody could say, as some smart Alex will say, well, colored people were at the bottom of the list for years. Now it's your turn, white man, etc., etc. Well, there's a slight difference. We provided the inventions, the medicine, the technology to bring us the modern world. And in doing so, a few toes might have been stomped on. Well, that's life. Life's a bitch. Life's a struggle. Well, we're not going to take the bottom of the totem pole with everything that we've given to civilization. We created civilization. European man and woman. British civilization. British Canada. British America. So we're not asking for forgiveness. You should continue thanking us, all you non-European descent people should continue thanking us for the medicines we've given the world, etc., etc., the space, internet, you name it. Do we really have to prove all of this? Life's a struggle. Indian tribes slaughtered each other. White tribes slaughtered each other in parts of Ireland and parts of Scotland, unfortunately. Unfortunately for other races, they've had their tribal inter-warfare as well. Cheerful talk, isn't it? Well, it's the coldest morning. I've got the electric heaters on. I'm not putting the oil on yet, or I'd end up freezing to death halfway through the winter. Is it the cold weather that's making me talk this way? No. It's actually the toppling of the statues started out, 6 months ago? That's what has awakened, in my opinion, that lady, that woman, here in cottage country. People who can afford cottages have got a few bucks in the bank from their careers, from their hard-working careers. Now they're seeing it all demolished. Toppling of statues in city parks, what's that got to do with cottage country, Beatty Boy? Well, I'll tell you what it's got to do with it. The cottage escape from the cities was pure heaven for 50 years for hardworking city people. But lo and behold, all good things have a problem. The new Canadians have discovered that they can rent a cottage and flood it with their buddies and pals and take over a lake for a weekend, noise-wise, whoopla, party time, ignoring the long-term cottagers who come up for peace and quiet. So that lady is having her weekends demolished on the lake. Speaking of which, there are those who are maintaining the quality of the lakes up here in Haliburton County. They're called stewards, lake stewards, trying their best to keep the pollution out, etc., etc. Well, this one lake steward actually was driving me to a medical appointment. This is about 2 or 3 years ago. Just when the cottage rentals by the weekend, etc., charging a fortune, just started up. So in the long drive, he was pointing out to me that he and his wife are so depressed with the noise on the lake in the weekends now that they're going to buy land inland, raw land, bushland. Forget about the good days of the lake. So the escape to the lakes on the weekends, the peace and quiet, is pretty well demolished. Sure, you still own your cottage, you still own your lakefront, etc. What good is it if 50 people have rented the cottage next door, making it sound like downtown Zimbabwe on the weekends. Just checking the time. Well, we're about halfway through. But that is one big step forward for a member of the middle class, like that lady, to come up to me in a public place and say those words. I want to thank you for what you're doing for my boys. Now, those who have followed the videos, we've got a stack of videos on here. You get the picture if you piece all the threads together, piece the videos together. You'll see that occasions come up. Well, during the imaginary Civil War, Beatty Boy, were people paid? No, people weren't paid. When they tried to hint about getting some help with their mortgage because they're going out in the dead of night doing great things for our British Canadian tribe, and they asked the big shots for a bit of financial help, the answer was from the big shots to the midnight workers, midnight shift workers. The answer was no. John Beatty doesn't get a dime. No one gets a dime. Beatty is seen as a decoy, now as a public figurehead almost. With Hazel passed on, the devoted, courageous, passed away wife, who was the go-between with the big shots. So now I'm being approached with short one-liners, whether it's at the grocery store or when I'm out and about town. So I know that our people have still got faith in me to say the right words. We can't turn out to be pussycats, but yet we can't turn out to be maniacs if we expect middle-class types who have worked hard all their lives, just as hard as those at the bottom of the scale, and those who have taken chances with their money at the top of the scale. I'm flabbergasted. That woman's words to me meant more to me personally. 50 years of devoting my life as a prophet, as a seer, to have those words spoken to me, thank you, ma'am. And there are other people at the same public place at the same time whom I know were part of the Legal Underground Defense Network. Now, that's a name I give it. I don't know what the people who have awakened, who want to revive our way of life, I don't know what they call the groupings, the networkings. I call it Legal Underground Defense Units. And believe me, they're there. Connect the dots, connect the incidents with the young fellows yelling out of the truck, Johnny, 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 previously. And I even had one fellow who's been in the background for quite some time, I imagine, retired professional, sort of hinted to me in a one-liner that maybe I wasn't doing enough. Said, how you doing? I said, well, you know, Parkinson's hits me hard, blah, blah, blah. And his reply was, well, just because you're getting old doesn't mean you quit. God, what a kick in the teeth that was. Slap in the face. I never thought I would quit. I'm on the job 7 days a week, trying to connect people who haven't met, who are brave, who want to stick out in the open eventually. Speaking of which, I always give myself openings. I'm apologizing again to the Western Canadian who sent $100 to pitch in towards our van plan, the British People's League van plan. The video on the van plan is 2 or 3 down on the John Beatty YouTube channel. You'll see van plan written across. Well, listen to it, study it. The fellow out west obviously thinks it's a good idea. He's a retired professional. I had bragged prematurely that we had a group ready to roll. Well, when we tried to get it rolling, no one showed up. Even the provider of a limo, we forget the limo, but wanted more change than originally said. So everything changes. So, sir, out west, I respect your donation of the $100. We're holding it in trust in case a group of young fellows with their girlfriends decide to do the van plan. I'm not going to review it here now. I want to make you go back and study that van plan. And obviously the retired professional thinks it's good. So we'll hang on the $100 until somebody performs the van plan. Otherwise, sir, down the road, maybe we could use some of that money to pay towards the server bills that keeps this British People's League broadcast on the air. How are we doing, time-wise? I always like to keep it around 20 minutes. There are various groups that I refer to in the broadcast. The cream of the crop, I suggest. The right approach, strong approach, but not berserk, not illegal. American Renaissance with Jared Taylor. Dr. Michael Smith, League of the South in America. And we've got individuals like Peter Hollings, Hollings. He changes his connecting point quite often for obvious reasons. And then we have here in Canada a good point man, Gus Stefanis, Stefanis. Gus Stefanis, he's the best connecting point for White Lives Matter, WLM, and it's okay to be white postering. Before I put a video on, I racked my brains out the night before trying to think, well, what can I do to inspire people? But all I can do is thrust the focal points, the connecting dots, that we are progressing in the reclamation of our lands, the reclamation of our British and European way of life here in Canada, and working together with Britons around the globe, such as Kandor. So I will just giving you the box, didn't I? Okay, Kandor website, Kandor.org.uk. Kandor, Kandor.org.uk. We also have to thank the webmaster, Rob Black, for all the work he puts into it. So there we have it. We're keeping connected with those who are promoting our approach to saving Western civilization. And it is a crusade to save Western civilization. Let there be no doubt about it. It's us or game over. We must win the minds of our peoples or game over. So this is September 26th. I can't come up with any magic tricks. It's up to you and I to just keep on pursuing the legal underground defense units. God bless you. May Odin bless you for listening and tuning in. Do what you can. If you got some relatives who are starting to come our way, and they are, believe me, the statue topplings did it. We grew up with those statues. You know, you're strolling through a park on a quiet Sunday afternoon on your way to your church or whatever. You pass the statues, whether in Kingston, Ontario or downtown Toronto, out west. They were part of our life. And for the police to obviously have been issued orders to do nothing, no arrests, pathetic. Pathetic. What's the American Constitution say? We the people. Well, it comes down to the people, doesn't it? Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. It's my intention to have a broadcast around Guy Fawkes Day. Goodbye for now. And don't forget the gentle, thorough lady at the top of the chain, our Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. God bless her. God save the Queen.